So what we're doing now is we're going to take a look at some questions on intermolecular forces. Basically, we're going to look at how can we solve for properties that involve either dipole-dipole attraction, induced dipole, permanent dipole, or even hydrogen bonding. We're going to take a look at MCQs first, right? So these are from certain past papers. And the first one here, let's take a look at this one. It says here that room temperature and pressure, H2O is a liquid and H2S is a gas. Now, if something is a liquid and something is a gas, the liquid is a liquid because versus the gas, the liquid will have a higher melting point and higher boiling point specifically. So here, water is said to have a higher boiling point than H2S. And what's the reason for this difference? Now, if you might remember, this was the property that because it differed for H2O, led us to actually deduce that water in fact had a special kind of intermolecular force in addition to permanent dipole-dipole, and that was hydrogen bonding. So now basically ionization energies have got nothing to do with melting point, and if you think that, you are in trouble. The covalent bond, which is a mistake many people make, they think that covalent bond strengths are what determine intermolecular forces, and they do not. The melting point of simple covalent molecules, which are not macromolecules, does not depend on the strength of covalent bonds. It depends on the strength of intermolecular forces. And those intermolecular forces in H2S are permanent dp-dp or permanent dipole-dipole attraction. PD, permanent dipole. And you can write PD, you have to write permanent dipole attraction. But in water, there is a significant hydrogen bonding in water, and that results in stronger attraction, which is why they have a higher boiling point. Remember, any molecule that has an OH bond or an NH bond would have hydrogen bonding, which will result in significantly higher melting and boiling points. Yeah. And the last part is incorrect because both of these are polar. So they do not have instantaneous dipole-induced dipole attraction. Polar molecules have, they do, but the strongest force is hydrogen bonding and then permanent dipole. Induced dipole is the weakest. So even if these are polar, they will have permanent dipole attraction, which is going to be greater than their induced dipole. So remember one thing though, if it's a non-polar molecule, it will only have instantaneous and induced dipoles. If it's polar, like H2S, within the molecules, there will be instantaneous dipole attraction, but more stronger will be the permanent dipole attraction. And water-like substances, which are hydrogen bonded, that would have hydrogen bonding, permanent dipole-dipole attraction, and also have induced dipole-dipole attraction. So D isn't wrong that you might say, well, this is polar, so they can have induced dipole. Well, they are polar, but they will have induced dipole, but their induced dipole will be much weaker. And they, remember, induced dipole-dipole attraction is dependent on what? It depends on the number of electrons. And the number of electrons on H2S are greater than H2O. So basically, the truth here is that the instantaneous dipole-dipole forces in H2S are stronger than H2O. So for example, if I were to make a small table just to make sure that we all get this. So we got H2O and we got H2S. So you can have induced dipole, instantaneous dipole attraction. You can have permanent dipole attraction, and you can have hydrogen bonding. Now, if I have to separate them for a second. So now both of them, water. So first of all, hydrogen bonding, that's the answer to this case. Only water has it. H2S doesn't even have it, and it's strong. But since both are polar, both have PD-PD attraction. But whose permanent dipole attraction is greater? Again, permanent dipole and induced dipole are sets of van der Waals, and they depend on the number of electrons. So these are your types of van der Waals. And van der Waals depend on electrons. So the H2S's permanent dipole is stronger. In fact, they both also have induced dipoles, but H2S's induced dipoles is also stronger, meaning the two molecules within their system, both the sets of molecules will have induced dipoles, but those formed between H2S molecules will be stronger. And you know why? Because S has 16 electrons, while O has only 8 electrons. So this molecule has 18 electrons. This has 10. More electrons here, stronger induced dipoles, stronger permanent dipoles. But in water, there is hydrogen bonding, and just because of that, it has a significantly higher boiling point. All right. So after this question, let's take a look at another one. Now this one is fun. It throws everybody off, or at least many people off. Not everybody. Some of you will get it. I get it. Yeah. So now in this question, the question is asking which molecule has the largest overall dipole. When they say largest overall dipole, what they're meaning is the largest difference in polarity, between the ends. Between ends. That's what you're going to focus on. So first of all, A is considered to be non-polar. So non-polar. B has a polarity. So one end is oxygen. That end for sure is negative. And the other end is the two CH3s. They would be positive. Now in Charlie, which is a similar shape than Bravo. Now the problem is that one end is oxygen, which is definitely more electronegative than Cl's. But Cl's are pretty electronegative too. So even though there is a difference, between the two, like Cl is positive and O is negative, their difference would be lesser than this. So you want the largest difference in polarity between the ends. These two ends, this guy is non-polar, this guy is polar. Or this guy is electronegative, this guy isn't. While in Charlie, both are electronegative. Not equally, but are. And in delta, you got these two ends, Cl's. They are on opposite ends, you see. So they are electronegative. But they kind of cancel each other out, you see. They on opposite ends, you'd say, hey, well, this guy is negative, this end is negative. They're equally negative. So it's like a tug of war, which turns to be not as polar because they are fighting equally. So amongst all of these, this is the least polar, but this is the most polar. Because this is the least polar because it's non-polar. Then between these two, these are identical. So there is less polarity difference here. This is more here. But this has the most. You know why? Because here, the oxygen end and the CH3 end are in fact highly different in electronegativities, while O and Cl have less difference. Understand that the difference in polarity will come from what? Will come from difference in electronegativity. And in this case, these two have hardly any difference. And here the diagonals kind of cancel out. Yeah? Even though they're not exactly opposite, but they kind of cancel out. Here, they're almost equal, so the dipole is less. Here, they're not equal at all in polarity, in electronegativity, so this creates a large dipole. It's all about the difference in electronegativities. And here is the largest difference among these four options. All right? Okay, so after this, let's take a look at another one.
Quick pause. If you're finding value in this explanation, there's so much more to discover at Alt Academy, where we break down every A-level concept with the same clarity. Now back to the video lesson.
Now this one was slightly easier because the question is asking for which organic compound has the highest boiling point. And how you determine that? You figure out all the types of intermolecular forces they have, and either their electrons with the greatest electrons will have strongest van der Waals, unless of course something has hydrogen bonding. Then hydrogen bonding trumps all. So do you check and see, is there anything here that seems to have hydrogen bonding? Well, right off the bat, it seems to me that delta has an OH bond right there. An OH bond would imply that the H in the OH bond can make hydrogen bonds. And hydrogen bonds are in fact the strongest of the three intermolecular forces. So here the answer I'd mark is delta. A and B are non-polar, so they'll have induced dipole attraction, and Charlie is polar, so it'll have permanent dipole attraction. Delta is polar, but it also has OH, which is an alcohol, which means it can, like all other alcohols, make hydrogen bonds. All right. Now, I'm going to throw you a question that will look like, hey, we haven't done organic yet. And that's okay. But if I were to draw the molecules that are represented by these formulae, then you can solve the question, because the question is all about hydrogen bonding. And here, if I draw A out, alpha is this. This is the molecule alpha. And if I draw Bravo out, that is CH3O, CH3. Then if I draw Charlie out, it's HCO, O, CH3. And if I draw delta out, it is HCO, OH. Having drawn these, can you then figure out which of these will have hydrogen bonding between multiple molecules of itself? It would have to happen to be delta, because it has the OH bond. What that means is the H will make a hydrogen bond with another of this molecule, and if you're wondering how does that happen, well, the trick for that would be, I'll take the first one, H C O O H. I'm showing you the shape also. And so this is positive and that's negative. And then this is the hydrogen bond between the next molecules, what? Oxygen, which can have hydrogen like this and a C with a double bond COH. However you want to draw it. It's HC double bond OOH. And the O has the lone pairs. And then the O is the guy that's the negative guy right there. So the hydrogen bond will be with the H of the OH from one of the molecules to the lone pair on the next molecule. All right, so this one seems pretty easy. Which of these four molecules has no overall dipole? And for no overall dipole, what am I looking for? I'm looking for no overall symmetry. Oh, sorry, we are looking for overall symmetry. So no overall dipole means the molecule is symmetrical, symmetrical. Here, the molecule delta, they're all tetrahedral, by the way. The difference is the other three have a varying number of chlorines. So some ends in this case would, like in this case, all four ends are chlorine. In this end, 3 will be chlorine, 1 hydrogen. 2 chlorine, 2 hydrogen, 3 hydrogen, 1 chlorine. So it is going to be delta for this, yeah? So this question would be delta. Okay, after having done that, let's look at the next one. This is from a couple of years ago. In this question, it says, in which pair does the second substance have a lower boiling point than the first one? So here, in alpha, Bravo, and Charlie, these guys have a higher boiling point than the previous guy. This is because it got polar and has more electrons. Bravo, because it has hydrogen bonding, stronger. Charlie, more electrons, stronger intermolecular forces. And in delta, it's the highlighted one that has more. And that has more because NH2 in a molecule implies you're going to have NH bonds. And what do they form? They form hydrogen bonds. And by default, hydrogen bonds have a higher melting point. Please always remember that. Always. All right. So moving on from this one to the next one, from the same particular year sessions, it says here, why is the boiling point of ammonia higher than that of phosphine or phosphine, pH 3? Well, simply speaking, having done this multiple times involving ammonia, I know ammonia molecules have hydrogen bonding. So whatever reason, whatever option are given, I'm going to find hydrogen bonding. And where is hydrogen bonding in ammonia? In the option B. So bravo is the default answer for this. Yeah, that's what it is. Bravo. Okay, so now another one. Yes, I've got some questions going here for sure. Let's take a look at this one. It says here ethane and fluoromethane have the same number of electrons and their boiling points are given as such. You got, Now why is this a higher boiling point? It's because this fella is polar. So if it's polar, it's going to have permanent dipoles. That's the reason. Now you might see an F and you might say hydrogen bonding. No, it can't be hydrogen bonding. It doesn't have hydrogen bonding because CH3F looks like this, where the F is bonding to the C, not the H. So there's no hydrogen bonding there. On the other hand, bond strengths have got nothing to do with boiling points. And also, by the way, so does MR have got nothing to do with boiling points. Please, MR has got nothing to do with boiling points. It's always about the number of electrons and the type of intermolecular forces. So the number of electrons are the same, the type matters. And the type is, this fellow is basically induced dipole, instantaneous dipole attraction. And this fellow is permanent dipole attraction. Hence the answer is bravo. All right, moving on to the next one. How about this one? And which of the following, when in liquid form, are the only intermolecular forces based on temporary dipoles? Temporary dipoles meaning induced or instantaneous dipoles. So among these four, which of these four has temporary dipoles? Well, it'll be best to figure out what all of these have. Well, bromine is non-polar, while HCl is polar, ethanol is polar, water is polar. And water and ethanol have what? They have hydrogen bonding, and so these two have hydrogen bonding. And what does HCl have? HCl is polar. So what does polar have? Polar has permanent dipole attraction. So the non-polar guy is going to have the induced dipole attraction.
Hey there! If you found this A-level chemistry lesson helpful, why don't you head over to our website, altacademy.org, where you can sign up for the full A-level chemistry course. In addition to chemistry, you can sign up for physics, biology, math, or 4 other A-level subjects. Thousands of students have already taken the leap. What are you waiting for?